Hey guys, good morning. I thought I'd try and look a bit sportier than I did yesterday. I'm going to stand a little bit further back so you can see me in a better position. Yeah, I'm going for a slightly more sporty look because I'm going to get a bit more interactive today. I've got my racket and a ball. Well, it does have a broken string, don't judge me on that. There are no stringers around. Well, there are stringers around, but obviously it's a lockdown. I do have one, but it's got a dodgy grip. So anyway, yeah, it's from the success of the slice backhand video that's doing okay. I thought maybe it does help a bit more if people can get a bit more interactive and get some tips and advice and some kind of tactical knowledge on it, and just actual, technical advice as well on certain shots. So I thought I'd pick a shot. I may well pick a player shot going forward, so pick out a specific player like I did with Barty and her slice. But today I'm just going to go on the return of serve. Just a quick note though, on the Aussie Open. I'm going to kneel because it's easier. Quick note on the Aussie. Yeah, Barty out, which surprised me. Yeah, I watched her first set, actually looked very comfortable. But very good from Machova, who I'm sure not many people will have heard of too much, but she has been coming through. She did call on the trainer, I think 6-1, 2-1 down. I'm not a fan of that personally. I don't want to say it's cheating, but I mean, she said she was lost. I mean, that's a reason, lost. I know maybe some people said she was dizzy and it was warm. I know it's hot out there and things, but for me it's just to try and slow things down. But fair enough, and it shouldn't really turn a match. It isn't like she had tactical advice on there or took sport enhancing drugs, at that changeover. So yeah, tough on Barty, we do like her, but yeah, hasn't played loads of matches and loads of tennis obviously. What I will say is, obviously Jennifer Brady coming through, one of my favourites. I think she's great. I'm just going to adjust this, sorry. Yeah, Jennifer coming through. Big fan of hers, and I do think, if you want a prediction, Jennifer to make the final. It's not much of a prediction really, but I'm pretty confident Brady to win. I wouldn't be surprised in seeing Brady winning Grand Slam soonish. She's getting closer and closer. Seems like a great person as well. All the players seem to like her a lot. So yeah, but yeah, if you want to pick on that, it's Brady to make the final for me, and probably against Osaka. Although I want Williams to win actually. There you go. So I thought Serena was very good yesterday. Anyway. Yeah, and I have got, by the way, if I look down, I have got Nadal Tsitsipas on, which I thought Tsitsipas had a great chance, to be fair, but Rafa's pretty much destroying him so far. Tsitsipas had chances in the 7th game at 3-all, maybe didn't capitalise, but yeah, Rafa seems to be growing in strength. And my pick, Medvedev, I thought Medvedev would beat Rublev. I don't think Rublev is quite ready yet, but yeah, Medvedev for me is, and I think you're looking maybe a Medvedev-Djokovic final. That would be my pick if I had to go with it. Medvedev just makes so many returns and just offers something slightly different as well. But I did think Tsitsipas could hurt Nadal. The longer the match goes, it's gone very quick, this match. If I was Tsitsipas, I'd be trying to extend points and extend rallies and maybe just test the back out a little bit. Obviously, as you get older, Nadal's not getting any younger. I feel like, it could favour him a little bit. But yeah, he's had a couple of little inklings, but yeah, Nadal's been very, very good. So yeah, he's just a true champion, isn't he? Like we say, true legend. Anyway, so thought we'd do something on the return of serve today. I've got a ball, and again, I'm not going to be able to hit the ball too much, but I like having the ball in my hand when I'm teaching. So yeah, just in case I need to show something, or I may need a drop feeder ball, but I have got a TV in front of me, so I will be smashing my TV, and that would ruin me during lockdown. So yeah. Basically just on all types of returns. So one I took, obviously for me, as players, adults, beginners, juniors, tournament players, national players. I've worked with everybody, really, all sorts of players, and obviously being a player myself a long time ago. I think we can emulate, that's why I love watching tennis. You can emulate, you can't copy necessarily, because we'd all copy Roger, I'm sure, for his technical ability and things. And if you're a woman, maybe Serena's serve. But yeah, you can emulate and you can look at things and think, okay, whether it's a ball bounce before you serve, maybe not 23 like Novak, but or I don't know, court position. So I thought I'd go over a few things and give you some advantages and disadvantages of certain positions and things, and maybe certain things I set myself up. For me, when I was playing, when I was younger, my hero was Andre Agassi. So if you ask anybody who actually knows me, when I was younger, what I was maybe known for being my return of serve and how early I took it, and that was purely through watching Andre Agassi. I used to love the fact that I'm going to class this as my baseline here. I used to love the fact that he would take everything almost inside the baseline, rush the opponent, and obviously you have to time the ball well to do that for definite, but he was the best returner, and him against Sampras was some of my best matches, because he could just rush players and rush them with that incredible ball striking ability. But yeah, that was something that I prided myself, and I timed the ball quite well. So for me, it was, people would say I'd run at their serves a lot of the time. Certainly when I was playing a lot and timing the ball well and seeing it well. As I got older, it got harder, so because you're not playing as much, so you'd find me a bit further back. Maybe as I get more tired, I'll be running in. But yeah, certainly in my playing days, that was something I was known for with my return, because if you see my serve, you'll understand. So I'm pretty sure my return stats would have been pretty good. I almost nigh on a lot of the time preferred return to serving, which can't be a great thing. But yeah, so that's who I emulated, was Andre. So I do think you can emulate, and you can take inspiration from some of the things they do and put these things into your game. And obviously with a good coach that can help you through it and give you ideas and tell you to watch certain things. It's worked for me anyway. So yeah. Anyway, return to serve. So different positions. So basically, it's all types of return, I suppose. You've got everything. Obviously, I've just talked about there myself, or Andre, I guess you say. Watching this match here, obviously Tsitsipas is trying to keep a high position, so trying to stay baseline or maybe slightly inside. It just means it is tougher to time the ball. Obviously Nadal spins the serve quite a lot, so it is tough to time. He's got the one-hander, Tsitsipas, what's it? I think it's so hard to take a one-handed backhand early, so maybe that's where he's struggling. But slicing against Rafa doesn't seem to work either, because he plays with so much spin. One of the big ones at the minute, and people will say, well, look at where they're standing, and if we use some, I think it's maybe like the number 2, 3, 4 in the world at the minute. You've got Dominic Thiem, and you've got Daniil Medvedev, and you watch them and you think, oh my god, they stand so far back. I mean, they're literally in the crowd. I mean, I can't get as far back as they are. They're so far back. But what you've got to think is, that is because the disadvantage is to being that far back, so being way behind the baseline to return a serve. The disadvantages obviously are that you do open the court up, so you open angles up, so wide serves can really work against that. There's obviously more court to cover. The advantages can be obviously, and obviously it works because these guys are doing it very well. Advantages to that can be that you get a bit more time to see the ball, you can chase the ball, you obviously have to be fit to do this. But obviously, yeah, you can take slightly bigger backswings at the ball, because you've got a bit more time. And obviously, it gives you more time to chase the ball down almost, if that makes sense. But yeah, there are pros and cons. I would say in the men's game at the minute, what you're looking at in men's tennis is, the reason it kind of works is there's not many players that are confident serve volleying, and obviously these guys love a target right now. I know Tsitsipas tried it a couple of times against Rafa, it just isn't working. It can work though, you just have to be competent at it. Hedman would probably actually enjoy playing a lot of these guys at this moment. I'm not saying he beat them all because they do like a target, but he just gives them something different. I would love to see the stats on Rublev against Medvedev. I would gamble that if he served volleyed once, I would be surprised. Maybe he did, maybe he realised he had to. But again, if you've watched Rublev volley, you'll understand why. Not many of these guys serve volleys, so they serve and stay back. So it just gives the player that much time to. Obviously, Kyrgios tried it against Thiem and had success with it. But once they get their eye in, very tough, because what they also do very well, Medvedev especially, is although he's way back in the court striking that return, obviously everything's on his front foot. He's then on the baseline when he's hit the ball. Normally he's just behind the baseline, so coming in, if you don't hit a good volley, he's passing you, and that is the difficulty with it, and that is the advantage. But obviously remember that for club players maybe, and depending on the speed of the serve coming at you, standing too far back does open up a lot of angle, and it does mean you'll have to do a lot more running. So for me, I tend to teach a bit more, just behind the baseline, try that split step onto that baseline if possible, keep short back swings, extended follow throughs. Technically, that's a really good thing to do. You haven't got time to take big cuts if you're playing a decent server, obviously. But yeah, there is no right or wrong. But if you do want to be back, you've got to then try and return with good length. You've got to try and keep it deep. Otherwise, again, if you pop it short, someone can drop shot you. They're going to get you running. You have to be willing to run if you're going to be that far back to return. So for me personally, I try and teach to be, just beyond the baseline, pushing in. Not every time, and obviously, like I say, it would depend on the surface. If you're on a clay court or something like that, I used to stand quite far back in a clay court because I used to rely on my speed, remember, so that was part of it. But obviously, give myself time on the ball, rip in, get into the point, and then try and dictate from there. Rafa's another example of someone who stands very far back. But if you've ever watched Rafa go from the French Open to the Wimbledon, it's incredible that in the French Open he's now in with the crowd returning the ball. Obviously, he's so quick and he's the king of clay, isn't he? But then he goes to Wimbledon and he's like, 4-5 foot further forwards because he knows that court's faster and he's got to take shorter back swings. So it'd be amazing. It's amazing to see that, and I've seen it over the years. Players' ability to adapt is incredible. Obviously, this is why they're the best. Obviously, but yeah, he pushes that court position further up. But yeah, for someone who, and again, maybe if you want to shorten points as well, so something Murray is one of the best returners ever. Again, and Djokovic, they tend to take that a bit earlier. Murray varies a little bit, but a bit earlier. Try and push them through the middle, and then they can dictate from there. Like I said, there is no real right or wrong, but it is something to practice. One thing to really practice is obviously that split step. Making sure we split, and you can see I split onto the balls of my feet, so slightly onto my toes, means my momentum's on my front foot. I don't need to take any backswing, and I just extend my follow through, use the pace of the serve, and I can push it deep and then get into the point. Obviously with a weaker serve, I've got more time. Split onto the ball, look to dictate maybe with my forehand more. Me, it would be my backhand, my two-hander. Best shot, always was when I was younger. But yeah, so there is no, like I say, there is no right or wrong. Just looking at the score here, 6-3, 2-1 Rafa. You never know a sits pass, you never know. But yeah, like I say, a big emphasis on split step in, short take backs, extended follow through, something I teach a lot. Imagine there's a brick wall behind you and you can't smack that brick wall. There's something right in behind you. Everything you have to go that way. You don't want to be going this way. So even if you're further back, I can't really do it, but say I'm back here, so I'm on the couch, but say I'm back here, I want to be splitting forwards, obviously, so I want to be splitting in to then, yes, I can chase the ball, but I'm splitting forward so that it's forward momentum. That's a massive thing. A lot of people tend to back away from balls, especially if they come quicker. Can't really do that, but abbreviate the take back. Practice that as much as possible. Practice just this. I used to do it all the time in the mirror. Probably a bit sad in my childhood. Was never out with girls or anything, but yeah, short to long all the time. Going into the women's game as well, obviously a little bit different in the women's game. The serves tend to be, this isn't a sexist remark, the serves tend to be a little weaker. So obviously court position's a little higher because the women tend to hit flatter and harder. Serena being the prime, obviously if you've got a weak setting serve, it's good night against Serena. If she's on like Halep yesterday, Serena returned brilliantly, takes it early, boom, striding in, rushing the time, go from there. Clijsters, one of my favourite returners, Kim Clijsters. She used to aim kind of just right of the juice side, if that makes sense, of the tee. I mean, great place to aim, no angle to give away. But yeah, so if you're playing a weaker server, obviously keep the court position up. Again, same thing though, short take back, extended follow through. Actually, that's why I think having a bit of variety, so as a female player, maybe being able to do both. So actually, you're playing a slightly bigger server like a Serena, she's not going to serve volley against you. So, being able to rip that ball and rip up the back of it, but that's again where it would be difficult because women don't quite normally play with as much spin. So on the clay, that's where Serena will struggle more on the clay because they've got more time to get into the point. But yeah, like I say, the further back you are, the more length you need to create. So it's the same in women's tennis as well, same principles, but obviously with the serves maybe being not quite as strong, they tend to obviously be a little bit higher up and they want to dictate and dictate the play early. So again, practicing that, staying up and getting somebody serving at you. I tend to do it serving from the service line at you when we're able to get back on court. Serving at the service line, giving you less time and just practicing that short take back because you haven't got time to take the big cuts of the ball. And if you're playing a weaker server, you can push your court position in more and you're laughing. Last couple of things on it. Looking at grips, so personally, again this is personal preference, remember, so a lot of club players will play with a neutral grip for everything. Obviously I try and not teach that, obviously, because it means that you're not going to create much spin on the ball, but if you do, try and keep the angle of the racket closed on both sides, as if you're trying to hit with spin, kind of, especially on that forehand, so try and keep racket head. Something Serena seems to be doing really well in this tournament. I know it sounds silly, but really seems to be closing the racket head off a bit better on her forehand. That's why I think she's striking it really well, to be honest. But yes, personally, I teach the semi-western grip quite often. So I actually personally would wait in my forehand grip because I feel like it's a quick adjustment into my backhand there. It's just a roll of the right hand there down the racket. But yeah, so I tend to wait there. A lot of players will do, I think. So Rafa's like round here, I think, personally. He's trying to get a lot of forehands, see a lot of forehands, obviously. But yeah, a couple of other examples. You've got sorry there, I'm having a mind blank there for a little bit. Yeah, couple of other things. Yeah, sorry, a couple of other things to go off on the return. Remember target area? I talked about it yesterday. In Novak, and he started to return better as the match went on. Lazarev's serving was very good, and sometimes Novak was just blocking into the court, but he's trying to get it into that semicircle around the baseline to give the opponent no angle. That means that he's probably going to get another strike in the point, if that makes sense. If you aren't able to get that length and you play through the centre, then obviously the opponent can attack that ball. So length on return is very, very important. But like I say, it's just getting used to practicing. If you take away anything from this video, for all 6 of you that might watch it or something, but if you take away anything, you can see again low centre of gravity, short takebacks, extended follow throughs. Even if you want to be further back, that's fine, but the same principle applies. You might have a bit more time to take a bigger cut at the ball, a bigger swing at it, but again, you've got to try and play with length. You still want to be on the front foot, and again, your head stays over the ball, something that club players forget all the time when they're playing is a bit of pace comes on, bang, look at my head, there's nothing up there to see. I'm looking at it, I'm on the back foot, I've opened my strings, likelihood the ball's going to fly, I'm going to struggle to get a good contact, I'm going to rely on like wrist strength and things like that, which is not what we want to do. So again, that practice can only be a good practice there, one hand, two hand, whatever you play with. But yeah, big thing to take away from today. You can see I've split onto this side, I'll pretend, there you go, extended through the contact, came back to me because I've got a little cabinet there. But yeah, again, split this side, push through, extend, hit the ball on, because really, you know, simple statistics in tennis, return percentage is massive. If you're making 80 to 90% returns in play, you're going to put the opponent under pressure, you're going to get a lot more double faults, you're going to get a lot more people going for bigger things off their first serve, whereas if you hit one massive return winner but then you make 4 errors straight after it, the server isn't under pressure, they can accept that, it's much easier to play against. I know, for instance, one of the things that frustrated big serves against me was I put a lot of returns in play and I was quite quick after it, so you know, I frustrated them with how many balls I got back in play. So yeah, something to think about, club players, any sort of players out there, have a little watch at different players and where they stand. But yes, last thing on positioning before I promise I go, is if this is your sideline, your inside tram line, I was trying to have my outside foot on that sideline, so on the juice court I'd have my right foot here on the sideline, so then I can cover that wide serve, because that's where somebody, a right-handed player, or a lefty, but a righty especially, because we do have a lot more right-handers, can push you wider, so it means that you can cover that quite quickly. So I've gone out a picture there, but obviously it's a lot harder for someone to get you down the tee on the juice side, because obviously it would have to be the most ridiculous flat serve. So in a step or two you can actually cover that quite comfortably. I'll do my two-hander as well, cover it quite comfortably. So don't be afraid to stand a bit wide. I know a lot of people like to protect their backhands, but again, that's something you need to work on them with your coach or with whoever. Yeah, and on the outside, same thing. If this is my outside tram, I have my left foot this line, again, then I'm ready. I can cover both ways in a couple of steps, and getting used to just splitting and V-shaped moving, I always call it splitting, and then you'll be amazed at what you can cover. It's the same when you're at the net, same kind of thing. Amazed at what you can cover. So yeah, something to have a little go at. All you need is a tiny bit of space. I've literally got a tiny bit of space. Practice the movement, practice that, get the racket in your hand, that kind of movement there. Something to go forward, and watch these guys as well. And like you say, if you want to be further back, fine, but be willing to run. You know, that's the difference. If you're that far back, you're going to have to chase the ball a lot, so, and strike it extremely well, like Nadal, Team, Medvedev all do. And so I'm not saying club players can't do that, but it is harder. That is definitely what I would say, and you have to do more with the ball. So that's why these guys are so good at it. But yes, remember, Brady to win overnight. No, not be too nice time, so fair enough, you heard it here first. Brady to win. Oh, I thought I could beat Serena, but come on, Serena, don't be too desperate. You've always got a chance. I think she deserves to break that record. But yeah, have a lovely Wednesday. I'm about to go on my run, but have a lovely day, and hopefully you'll take something from this video. Any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I love doing this type of thing. Please subscribe, please pass it on. Let's get me to 50 by Friday. 50 subscribers by Friday, that'd be great. I'm going to upload it onto Twitter as well. I have got my Twitter up and running. But yeah, have a lovely day. Smile, get a racket in your hand, have a swing, you know, even if it's shadow swinging like it has to be, no problem at all. Get used to it. Get someone to drop a ball. If you've got someone with you, get someone to drop a ball and just get used to that movement. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Enjoy the tennis. Bye-bye.